Hey guys, this is Nick Meyer from althealthworks.com, and today I'm here with Derek Henry again from healingthebody.ca. Derek, how you doing on this lovely Friday?
I'm doing excellent. Nick, how are you doing?
Pretty good. So today we're going to talk about toxicity, the various forms of toxicity in the environment and even in your mind and things like that. Can you talk about the environment? How do environmental toxins affect us every day, and just how bad is it out there right now?
Well, yeah, I mean, environmental toxins you can't really get away from, can you? No matter what environment you're in, and there's some environments that are certainly cleaner than others. But if you're living in a first world country with industrial pollution, we have a little bit extra to deal with. And there's a common toxicities environmental we can think about like pollution, whether it's from industrial buildings that are pumping out the smoke, or it could be simply that you live in a conventional agriculture area where these pesticides and herbicides and all these things being sprayed, over the years start to contaminate the air that you breathe. And these are some of the common ones people think of right away. They think about the pollution from the vehicles and from the industrial, and the construction, all those kinds of things. And those are common. But there's other ones too that people often don't think about. For example, we spend, especially during the winter season, we spend a lot of time indoors. And actually, indoor toxicity could be much more of a problem than outdoor, obviously, depending on where you live. But it can be because mainly due to the concentration of those contaminants that are inside your house. Because you're dealing with an environment that's closed in, unlike the outdoor environment where things can be diluted and can be cleansed. But when you're inside your house, we don't have that same ability. You can open up your windows and things like that, which can help. But again, during winter months and things like that, we spend a lot of time indoors. We close our windows, things like that. These indoor pollutants, carpets off gas, mattresses. There's lots of different chemicals that people might use in their house. There's just a lot of things in pet dander. There's a lot of different things in the home that can be accumulated that can really start to irritate people. And another thing too that's very important that most people don't think about, but people are becoming more aware of, is EMFs. These are environmental toxins that we're not thinking about, but they're the most ubiquitous. I mean, these toxins are everywhere. It's very difficult to live anywhere in the world where you're not dealing with electricity, where you're not dealing with electronics, where you're not dealing with Wi-Fi. These things are constantly battering us, and that are frequencies that are chaotic to our own cells. And obviously, how close you are to these, the proximity of them are important, but there's probably not too many people that don't have a cell phone in their hand, or that aren't living in a house that has appliances or electronics or electricity. I mean, every one of those things put out a certain amount of energy, and the point is there's an overwhelming amount of these energies we're basking in, and we're getting radiated on a day-to-day basis that people don't think of. So we have to think about how we can neutralize those EMFs, for example, that radiation, because it would be extremely difficult to avoid them altogether. So those are a couple big ones that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and that's just kind of really a start on the environmental toxicities we have to put up with on a daily basis.
And what are some of considering the fact that these toxicities are everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
how much of a difference have you noticed since you've started to find ways to mitigate those toxins? And what are maybe a few of your, like maybe three of your secrets for getting rid of these toxins in your body and in your environment?
Yeah, there is ways to mitigate these things, and it definitely, you just got to think of it as a low grade assault on a daily basis. And after a while, a low grade assault is like chronic inflammation on a daily basis. You might be able to handle it for a little while, but then it becomes overwhelming. So obviously, the outdoor toxicity, that's a little difficult. Most people aren't going to wear masks out in your daily environment. But you just need to pay attention to the environment you're in, and maybe spending a bit more time in nature. In terms of the outdoors, or obviously the extreme example would be moving away from, if you live really close to very bad pollution, considering moving to a more pristine environment. But other than that, the outdoors, that's a little bit difficult. So you just maybe have to work on cleansing once in a while, because that's just something that you have to deal with. Indoor toxicity, that's a little bit easier. Plants are a great thing. Getting lots of plants in your environment that are helping neutralize some of those indoor toxins I talked about before. not necessarily EMFs, but pet dander and off gassing and things like that. Plants can help mitigate some of that. If you want to go a more concentrated way, essential oils would be a great way to do it. Diffusing them into your air, that's going to take care of a lot of bacteria, virus, fungus, anything that may be floating in the air. That can take care of a lot of that. It can help neutralize that. Even something as simple as a salt lamp, for example, can help maybe a bit on the EMF side too. Very subtle, but it does have the ability to attract those positive ions, as they call them, to the negative, the negative energy of the salt lamp, of the salt itself emanating, can help clear out a lot of EMFs. Not only that, but can help clear out other toxicities too. Again, this is low grade, it wouldn't be a high performance example, but it certainly can help. If you want to go a bit more on the high end, especially with, we talk about the Wi-Fi and all the electronics and even the smart meters and things like that. Again, proximity is important. If a smart meter, for example, isn't within feet of your head, it's not going to be quite as bad. Again, it's not something you should be concerned about. But if you have smart meters, for example, on the outside of your wall, outside of a bedroom wall, and they're within feet, that can cause a lot of issues, especially for people that are sleeping. Now, in that realm, you got to think about technology, EMF technology. You got to think about how to ground yourself on a daily basis. And if you're inside, you can't literally ground yourself or earth yourself, as they would say, where you actually have your physical bare skin in the sand, in the soil, on the grass, whatever it is, the frequency of the earth. Being able to ground that out like a lightning rod grounds out lightning. Same kind of idea. You can ground out those chaotic frequencies. Of course, when you're indoors, unless you're standing on concrete that's not covered, that's on the earth, it's very difficult to ground yourself. You're not going to ground yourself on your hardwood floor or your rug. But there is technologies nowadays that you can, for example, grounding sheets and pillowcases and things like that, where you can plug them into the grounded outlet of your electrical outlet. As long as that's properly grounded, it'll be grounded into the earth, and then you can, by proxy, be grounded when you sleep, for example, or you may have a place in your house that will help offset that. There's other technologies too that you can help neutralize those frequencies by just putting, a lot of people are familiar with your cell phone. There's certain things you can do with your cell phone. You can use covers, or you can there's certain buttons on them, and some of them maybe not be the best, but there is some that definitely work. You got one on there? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, safe sleeve. So you can have that on there, and that helps block it. We know that's been proven. And there's other things like that too. And there's little buttons you can put on that. You can put them on your smart meter. You can put them on your Wi-Fi, on your computers. Whatever you spend a lot of time in front of would be the first things I would consider. And you can help neutralize those frequencies and really dumb them down, because there's not much you can do otherwise for the electricity going on in your house. As long as things are plugged in, you're going to have a certain level of it. But you can protect yourself by having that. And even there's things that you can put on your personal body too. Like there's certain, like I have a necklace, for example, that has a little, I don't know what they would call it. Sometimes people call it a diode, but it's a little piece that actually takes chaotic frequencies and gathers them and reharmonizes them to be more resonant with my own frequency. And actually, they work really well. Once you put one on for a little while, you'll start to notice your energy lifts a little bit, and you're not feeling as drained in some of those circumstances. So those are probably my best ideas to get rid of most of those environmental toxicities.
And this is all stuff that you talk about in the Thrive Online program.
Yeah, absolutely. We dedicate a whole module to this. Our second or third module is dedicated to toxicities, and just from not from cleansing toxicities out, that's dealt with in a different module, but just understanding the incoming toxicities and cutting them off, because that's your best bet. If you want to cleanse and you want to get toxins out of your body, the first thing is to stop them from mitigating how many are coming into your body in the first place. So learning where they're at, how to stop them, like we just talked about environmental, but obviously there's food toxicities, there's emotional toxicities, there's toxicities in your water, there's toxicities in your personal care products. I mean, we're not trying to scare anyone here. This is just the reality of what it is. And if you don't do something about it, that toxic burden eventually becomes too much, and this is where symptoms and disease start to make its way in. So stop the incoming. And also, how do you get, so if you do that, and there's lots of different ways you can do that, then you've won half the battle, and then the other half is eliminating this. And we talk about all the different toxicities and the best way to make sure that you're not taking in any more toxicity than you can handle. There's certain things we can't control, but there is certain things we can control, and we need to focus on that because we can't control everything in our environment.
And can you talk about what types of transformations people have made on this Thrive Online program? And can you also let the watchers know a little bit more of the details of this program and when the deadline is to sign up?
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of transformations. I mean, when you start to, from a very basic perspective, when you start to slow down incoming toxins and you start to rid your body of toxins and you start to nourish your body with the proper nutrients, and there's a lot of details that go into that. It's not as simple, unfortunately, just eating whole food. That's a great start, but there's a lot more detail to actually making sure that you actually get the nutrients from those foods. So to date, helped clean up over 20 different chronic disease conditions. So a lot. And, you know, from type 2 diabetes to recovering cancer patients to hypothyroid to anxiety, you know, weight loss, you know, adrenal fatigue, you know, rheumatoid arthritis, all kinds of autoimmune conditions, skin conditions. I mean, the list goes on and on. When you start to learn how to support the body takes care of itself. That's just the way it works. That there's thousands of disease labels, but to be honest, there's only probably 4 or 5 systems that you just need to navigate and get optimally functioning. Once that happens, then everything starts to take care of itself. So in this program, I mean, we focus on a lot of things. We're focusing on empowering the individual to be able to take care of their own health. So we're talking about mindset, how to manage that, how to manage your stress, your anxiety. We talk about nutrition and supplementation, high-end nutrition supplementation, how to do that properly so you can overcome disease. We talk about toxins. We talk about digestion. You got to nail your gateway to health. If you don't nail your digestion, nothing else is going to get much better. But you do that properly, everything starts to get better. Your immune system, a lot of immune conditions out there these days. We talk about hormones. Hormones is a huge factor in just helping rebalance those. Whether you're a man or a woman, both is important. And cleansing and detoxifying, like we talked, how you do that properly. And exercise, you know, how do you move properly? How do you do these things? So we talk about all of this in the Thrive Health program. That's why we can get so many results, is because we cover all the fundamental bases that it takes for people to be healthy. So, you know, we have a deadline coming up, January 14th. Will be the deadline for the winter registration.
1 month.
Yes. Yeah, we're not far away, and even probably less than that at this point. So it's not that far away. So that's for the winter registration. January 14th will be the deadline. And if you're interested in, you know, avoiding these toxicities in the first place and cleansing your body and just overall, you know, eliminating, a lot of these people are eliminating these diseases or alleviating them heavily within 60 days. 60 days of following a simple nutritional plan, following supplementation and getting rid and following what's going on in here. In 60 days, if you go at it in a manner that, you know, you're motivated and you really want to take care of things, 60 days is all you need to really see a significant difference. But the bottom line with the Thrive program is you govern it. Everyone's busy. Everyone has their things going on. Some people are more motivated than others, want to do it quickly. If you don't, it's a lifestyle program and it's a healing program that's going to allow you to go through it at your pace. So if you just want to focus on toxins and that's the number one thing, you can focus on that for months if you want, getting stuff out of your house. Everyone has so much to get out of their life, but the Thrive program doesn't rush you. You can follow it and you can continue to get the results, and you can do it at the pace that makes sense for you.
Well, thank you so much, Derek. And to everybody out there watching, we will put the link to the Thrive Online program in the video description. Derek is a teacher who has overcome 13 different chronic diseases himself. So he really knows how to work with people who have these different ailments and are seeking to overcome them. So thank you so much for joining us again, Derek, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds good. Thanks, Nick.